What's up guys, Claire here. Orianna is a champion that I've been playing a lot over the past week in High Challenger, and to be completely honest with you guys, I genuinely think she's an extremely powerful champ, and she's been criminally slept on. So I was going over a bunch of Orianna related content in preparation for an in-depth Orianna guide, and I happened to take notice of this. Yeah, so Chovy is absolutely dominating High Challenger Korean solo queue with this pick, and today I want to do a little dive in on how he likes to play the champion.
유저?
So
네,
heading into the
입력해
match,
뒀습니다.
we'll take a look at these runes. So he opts into the airy setup, and something I think is interesting is that he goes Taste of Blood Ingenious Hunter. Now he doesn't actually have any actives. Um, from what I can see from his build, right, he has Tear of the Goddess. Ingenious Hunter allows you to stack tier faster, and that's pretty much the only thing that Ingenious Hunter would be used for. So I think it's a bit interesting. I think he's doing a bit of experimenting. I'm not actually sure if it's good, but I can see the logic behind wanting to finish your tier early. In my short guide that I made on my channel, in regards to Orianna, I recommended Presence of Mind as a rune. So this is a route that Chovy prefers to go. Instead of going Presence of Mind or mana focused runes, he's opting to go Ingenious Hunter to enhance his tier of the Goddess. In my opinion, Seraphs is an extremely underpowered item, so I tend to steer away from that item, and I personally don't build on Orianna, but Chovy's been doing it every game. But he does go Sork Shoes and Ludens, so he definitely prioritizes
늦었어.
Magic Pen on this champion, which is very powerful.
뭐야 얘네.
Level 1, he warded. They sweep his ward, he's annoyed. He wants to order these minions and start building a slow push into the Yasuo. So, in this lane,
꿀좀 세게 한 거야
your
지금.
range versus melee, you want to build the advantage on the first three waves, and you want to crash a wave into his turret. What you want to do after that wave kind of depends on the game state. You can either go for a cheater recall, you can roam, you can harass him on the tower. Playing a wave crash like this is the best way to get a lot of options in a game. So here, he's just manipulating the wave. On second wave, he makes sure not to auto any minions until they're low HP, because he wants to crash on wave 3. However, because of how he's been training, his wave is actually pushing quite fast. So it ends up being a 2-wave crash, which it's not terrible, but this makes it so you don't really have the option to recall, and you have to poke under turret. That's your only play. Your other play would be to ward, but he doesn't have a ward. He knows Diana started top side. He wants to hug the top side of the lane here. Constantly playing to trade. So that right there is the risk of a 2-wave crash. So I would say Chovy made a mistake already in this lane. The risk of the 2-wave crash is that the turret, as you can see, this turret is autoing this minion. When this turret autos this minion, it's essentially the strongest pushing tool you can ever have in lane. Your turret autoing minions. And so Yasuo here utilizes his turret targeting this melee to hit level 3 first. And that is the risk of doing a 2-wave crash. The enemy laner in a lot of scenarios will hit level 3 first and look for an all-in. And you'll notice this in a lot of matchups like the biggest matchup that comes to mind for me is probably Kiana or Fizz. They really love abusing the 2-wave crash into hitting level 3 first around this wave position and then looking for an all-in. Chovy recognizes that he made a mistake here. He's level 2 to 3 and he has to flash.
이거 뭐 3레벨이냐 들어오면서.
Kind of rough because of the 2-wave crash, but it's not the end of the world because he did get good trades. That's kind of
이게
the
맞고
saving
그렇게
grace for the
먹네.
2-wave crash and all the harass he put in early. He was able to chunk
맞았는데.
Yasuo quite a bit, blow his potion, so it's not the end of the world here. He is versing a Diana, so there is quite low gank threat until level 6. So here he's just on the back foot. He wants to play a bit passive, kind of chill. Doesn't want to cause too much chaos in the early game because you are playing a scaling control mage. So here, this is going to be a bounce. Oh, does he pull this wave? Okay, so Chovy actually freezes this wave. It is going to bounce still though. It's only 2 minions. Eventually it'll bounce. But this is a better bounce than a faster one. So this is going to be a slow push. He can build 2 to 3 waves and he can crash this into Yasuo's turret. Can probably crash it, and it's much safer pushing the wave slower like this when you have no flash. Thing we see here, his jungler's coming in for a gank. Unfortunately, we don't see his minimap. Ah, his support's coming. So supports in Korean solo
여기
queue, they're
여기
really
여기
OP.
주세요.
Honestly, that's kind of a saving grace for his lane. He really needed that. Yasuo was in a really good position. If Yasuo had respected on the slow push out, Yasuo could have gotten quite a big CS lead on the bounce back, but he played too aggressive on the freeze, the slow push, and he got punished for that. So, kind of a good recovery play from Chovy to realize how his wave was kind of messed up, and he pulled the wave a bit, started a slow push, and his teammates were there to help him. So you need to kind of capitalize on those kind of scenarios when you feel like your
뭔가
lane
아
isn't
TP만
playing
하면
like
이길 것
how you
같은
want it to.
게임인데.
You can see there's a little translation in the bottom right. Someone's translating what Chovy's saying. I feel like as long as I stay alive, I will win the game. That's exactly how I feel when I play Orianna. This champion scales so well. Once you get to team fights with good CS, you're actually insanely powerful. Early lane is probably the roughest spot in the game for Orianna. I would say 2v2ing Yasuo Diana in early levels is probably the least risky time because once those champions hit level 6, that's when the game can get really rough. Versing Yasuo Diana, when they hit level 6, you pretty much can't do anything. Diana just presses R on you. She has E, which goes half her screen, and a flash as well. She can E twice if she Qs a minion, so getting that knock up on you and Yasuo ulting off, you're pretty much just dead. It
왜
is a
여기까지
very annoying
뛰어오는
combo
거야?
to verse in solo queue. I absolutely hate it. So here, Chovy is not playing aggressive at all. He's not autoing the wave. He's not hard shoving. He's going for last hits, and Yasuo is kind of pushing when he shouldn't be. I feel like Yasuo should allow the wave to come into him so he can get an extended trade on Orianna. But if the wave is positioned where it is in that lane right now, Orianna can just safely farm for the most part. So that's Chovy playing well. Looks like a fight is happening bot side, and Chovy wants to follow the Yasuo and not allow him to move for free. So this is perfect auto spacing from Chovy here. He knows if he stands on top of the Yasuo, he's gonna get destroyed by the auto attack. So he makes sure to run out of his range, use his ball, and just kite the Yasuo around. That's what you want to do when you play Orianna. You want to space a lot. Ball spacing is the strongest mechanic on Orianna. Using your maximum ball range and just standing on the edge. You don't even have to auto attack a lot of the time. You can just go for Qs over and over and over. When your Q is rank 5, it has such a short cooldown. You can spam it so much. Yeah, his support gets kind of picked off. Unfortunate. Now Chovy's level 6. I would say he still probably wants to play passive because his flash is in 30 seconds. After his flash is up, it's still pretty easy to die to Diana Yasuo, but I feel like you can do a lot more things. There are a lot more windows and opportunities to go for when your flash is up. So this is perfect zoning. This is what you should be utilizing to do. This is what you should be utilizing on Orianna, new player. You can do this versus range champs as well, but it's much easier versus melee. You pretty much put the ball anywhere near them, and if they ever walk into range of you, or walk into range to CS, you just QW them. Or you just regular Q them over and over and over. And they just struggle so much catching farm here. Heavy's playing a bit aggressive here. Trying to deny CS on the Yasuo. Oh, he's staying for the plate as well. I'd say I expect to see one wave into a recall here. Lost chapter. Lost chapter off this wave and he has TP. He might TP back to lane. Yeah, no mana, so he has to recall here. Alright. I would advise against doing this kind of play. He's rotating with his jungler, but he literally has 0 mana. So I would say if he just recalls and TPs back to lane instantly, it's probably the best thing he can do. TP back to lane, Yasuo is basing right now. He switches to the red trinket here, guys. Switching to the red trinket when you know lane is warded is extremely powerful. It's so annoying when you're laning. You put your yellow trinket down, the enemy laner comes back to base, comes back from base, and they just drop the red trinket on your ward and eat it. Actually, the most annoying thing, they get gold, they deny vision, and they get EXP. Chovy wanted his blue buff here. Diana stole it. Ooh, I think a bit too fast on the ulti. I think he could have held the ulti for
어?
a bit. He could have gone for the QW slow first. Waited to see what Diana's next move was and then ulted. I think there are merits to ulting instantly on Orianna. Having no hesitation ults allows plays to start really fast, but a lot of the time I like to hold my shockwave to see how the enemy responds to me putting the ball on top of them. A lot of the time they will panic, they might early flash, they might space poorly, path into you, do something incorrect by you putting pressure on them just by putting the ball in their face. So the instant R, I feel like is kind of a tool you reserve for when you see like that perfect golden opportunity in a team fight. Otherwise, even in lane when I'm 1v1ing, I like to keep the ball and wait for them to run to the edge of it. Because you can put the ball in range of them and wait for them to run to the edge of your ult range and then ulti and it'll pull them back even further. So once Chovy has his lost chapter online and he has blue buff here, he likes to just put pressure and make sure that the enemy can't see us and always put his ball ahead in lane. Yeah, this is a bit spicy. I would be scared here. This is where I feel like phase rush comes in really handy in kind of scenarios like that. But he's opted for the area, which is kind of iconic Chovy playstyle. Plays for surgically precise trades. He likes to get incremental leads. He likes to go 12 CS per minute. Area just kind of facilitates that playstyle with the extra damage on your poke and your auto attacks. Chovy is a very small trade oriented
아니
player. When you have all these mana items, you should definitely be looking to take away some of these junglers camps. Um, Always prioritize your lane minions before jungler camps, especially when you have no vision. So you see the Chovy actually started the Raptor camp, but he realized that his lane was in mid. If he stays on that Raptor camp and Yasuo just starts EQing his mid wave, he'll lose priority and Yasuo gets a window to either recall or roam. So he instantly recognized that and he got off the Raptor camp. Because you should always do your wave first before doing anything else. If you give Yasuo free time on the wave, you're just giving him free gold that you don't really need to. That's the reason why he started the Raptor camp and got off it. This is pretty much something that you can find yourself doing in a lot of Orianna matchups. When you get a gold lead, when you start getting your mana items, you can pretty much just push all day, every day, and hit this turret as much as you want before plates drop. Yasuo goes for the EQ on his jungler. Chovy gets a two-man ult. That's pretty much like textbook control mage play. He's sitting in the back, not getting hit by the CC, and he uses his range to fight. And that's just the power of Orianna, you know, like they think they can fight, but Chovy just sits two screens away, uses his range, and he just picks up two free kills just like that. And keep in mind, this is a 12-minute turret being taken down, and all of this has happened from Chovy just playing the lane, the 1v1, very well. He made one mistake, he instantly recovered that mistake with a good play, and after that he just put so much pressure on the Yasuo. He didn't allow Yasuo to farm, didn't allow him to skirmish, didn't allow him to roam, and this gives your jungler so much freedom to do whatever they want when you're just permanently pushed up mid, creating so much pressure. Like Chovy didn't even leave lane this game. He maybe left lane 2 to 3 times to help out on a mini skirmish. But he's just playing the 1v1 for the most part, and that's what you should be doing on these control mages. You don't really want to roam a lot. And this Yasuo knows he's just dead. Just a bit of solo queue banter there for you. But as soon as Yasuo gets hit by the first Orianna QW, he gets slowed and Orianna catches up. Perfect flash on the alley combo. Perfect gameplay from Orianna. Just look at him using his maximum range. He throws the ball out and he instantly runs back.
이게 2인공이잖아.
It's an extremely powerful league fundamental to use. Auto spacing, using your maximum range. It's essentially like keeping a leash on your opponent, right? You keep them tethered. You keep them within a certain range, and that range is within your maximum range, but out of their maximum range. Yeah, Chovy's opting for a 1v1 with the Yasuo. He's so far ahead. This is a bit of a limit test, in my opinion. Probably didn't need to do this, but he gets a nice 270 gold for the kill, and he's going to get this next cannon wave. Kind of just flexing his wallet on the enemy team right now. Dinah might look for a QEQ. Yeah, sorry, QEE, I mean. Look
아니
at that
거리가
engage
많이
range from Dinah. QE's the
말이 안
minion.
나오네
Rocket
이게.
belts. Press it on the Orianna. Nothing you can do about that. This champion is so frustrating to verse.
우리는 더
In the mid to late game, it is very standard to start entering the side lane. I think Orianna is quite a potent side laner. As you can see here, once you get a lead, her 1v1 potential is actually quite high. She has self-shield, she has movement speed, she can slow the enemy, she also has CC on her ulti. Her ult does mini-stun after the pull in. It does do like a, I think it's like a 0.5 second stun or something. Unfortunately, gets taken down. This is kind of the weakness of Orianna when you don't have a lot of frontline and people can get on you. It is quite easy to kill you.
어? 어라?
Look at this Diana. She was 2-6 before this fight. She's just killing everyone. Actually crazy. But we can see now that Chovy is kind of, I feel like, in my opinion, he's taking it a bit less serious right now. He's just kind of fighting, going everywhere, doing whatever he wants. I want to see him show up to a skirmish, show up to a Drake fight, maybe a Rift Herald fight, a Baron fight. I want to see what he does with this pick. You see here, Chovy has a 17-minute Seraphs. Now, I think this is actually a bit hard to achieve. You kind of need to be able to spam your abilities a lot, and he did get fed, so he got the tier early, and he got the Lost Chapter early, and he did get some blue buffs, so he's kind of enabled the 17-minute Seraphs. But the big thing is that this is the Ingenious Hunter coming in. This is that rune coming in and allowing him to finish his Seraphs early. Now, do I think Seraphs is a big spike on this champion? Not really. Seraphs gives you like a healing passive, and it gives you a bit of ability haste, which, to be fair, ability haste is a very good stat on Orianna. But I feel like just opting for like maybe the Magi's or the Zonya or even a Death Cap second item. These things can be very powerful. In my opinion, a bit more powerful than the Seraphs would be. Look at the zoning that he can do on this champion. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but Chovy actually stepped onto his minion wave and pressed W to give his minions movement speed. Something you can do to push a bit faster. But now look at this. He throws the ball forward constantly and just creates so much pressure by having the ball in their face. See how he navigates this fight. This is kind of a dream scenario for Orianna because your maximum range is bigger than the enemy's engage range. Look at this choke. Look at this ball doing so much work in the choke. They can't walk forward. They can't do anything here. The ball is taking up the entire width of this little like lane sort of thing.
아 진짜
Anytime they walk forward,
당황스럽다.
they get chunked half their HP by a QW. That's the power of a fed zone control mage. Chovy opts to go for the top inner tower here. Inner towers are extremely broken. Look at this. Look at this. 550 gold plus 50 local gold. Absolutely insane. Oh, sorry, 50 global gold plus the 550 local. Getting inner towers is absolutely insane. It's the same as getting 2 kills. Oh, doesn't get him. Playing to survive. He is out of mana. No, can't do it.
어,
That was a bit greedy by Chovy.
왜 이렇게 약해?
I was going on about the inner turret, the 600 gold inner turret. It is a lot of gold, but they just aced the enemy team. They had a big team fight, and he's still on the map, just doing things alone. Um, he's limit testing for sure. He wouldn't play like this in a high stakes game. The enemy team is opting to hit Baron here, I believe. Chovy has TP in 15 seconds. We'll see if he can finish the TP and get there, because if enemy team is on Baron like this and you're playing Orianna, you can do so much work here. 5 seconds. Enemy team gets the Baron. We'll see if he can TP and make it here in time.
네, 전적 한가운데 루시안이.
He opts not to TP. What does he buy here though? Shadow Flame. Guys, I don't recommend Shadow Flame. I think if you're already sitting on 2 items, you have so much AP already that you want to multiply your AP with a death cap. I don't think you want to go for the Shadow Flame. Most of the time, you don't even need the extra penetration, because I don't think enemy team is building much magic resist. So the penetration from Ludens and Sock Shoes alone kind of makes you do true damage already. So a lot of the times, you don't even need the Shadow Flame. I think you would be dealing a lot more damage with death cap here. I'll be honest, I think Chovy is an absolutely insane player. He's smart. He has great mechanics, but I think a common trend that we see from pro players is they don't build mathematically correct a lot of the time. And in my opinion, Shadow Flame here is not the best option. I think a lot of the times if you want penetration, a lot of the time Void Stuff actually gives you more damage than Shadow Flame. Shadow Flame's kind of like a collector. It has a very brief window where it's best in slot magic pen item. But sometimes, or a lot of the time, either Void Stuff or Death Cap is doing more for you in terms of pure damage. We'll see how he plays here. Fortunately, the Yasuo ults away, but we would have seen him using his ball spacing to navigate the fight. Look at him, he throws out the Q, he runs back, making sure not to get in range of any opponents, but using his Q in their face. I think the Q has an insane range, like probably 600 to 800 range, somewhere around there. That's on using it right, but you can even the snapback is even longer range than that. So what I mean when I say Orianna ball spacing and maximum range is you want to stand as far away as possible from the target without having your ball snap back to you, because you want your ball to stay on top of the enemy. I think we'll see him run down the side lane here. Again, side laning is very lethal on Orianna. Her 1v1 potential when you have items is very huge, actually. Orianna is also extremely good at dealing with super minions. I think she clears super minion waves like pretty much instantly. And that's the case for a lot of magic damage champions, but especially magic damage champions that have short cooldowns. Because super minions actually have reduced magic resist. So you do more than true damage to them, actually. Chovy gets another 600 gold from the turret. There you got top inner and bot inner. Going for the death cap next. Something he's done this game is he's opted for the stopwatch, but not the Zhonya's hourglass. See how he navigates this fight. Look at him. He's throwing the ball around and he's making sure it doesn't snap back to him, but he's also not standing in range of them. He's putting pressure on without being in any danger here. Orianna can zone control so crazily like this. He's an opportunity for a 2-man R and he gets down to 40% HP. This is perfect Orianna gameplay right here, guys. Lands another Q. Blows the Alistar. Constantly using his ball and kiting back. Literally the perfect way to play Orianna. And look how much work he did in that fight, guys. This is the power of Orianna. When you're at an objective first and you're in the river first, you're controlling vision. How can the enemies walk into you when you just throw your ball at them? You throw your ball, you space back a few steps. If they try to walk forward, they just get obliterated.
그거까지 건 아닌데.
Like, Diana had no chance of entering the river there. I think he's farming up for a death cap here. I will say, generally, you will be doing more damage than this on Orianna if you opt not to go Seraphs and Shadow Flame. I think if Chovy had the same amount of gold he has now, but he had like a Death Cap and a Void Staff instead, maybe a Zhonya's, he would be doing absolutely insane amounts of damage. I've literally one-shot an 80 carry before with just QW. So Chovy pushed out bot wave, farmed up for his Death Cap. We'll see what he does here. He might sell the stopwatch. Oh, he sells the boots. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not a fan of it. Magic Pen boots are 18 Magic Pen. I would probably choose to have the movement speed and the pen from boots over the Magi's. Or even give up the stopwatch, because stopwatch is a defense tool, right? But so is movement speed from Sock Shoes. Graves steals Baron here because Diana flashed out of the pit.
안으로 꼬인시켜서.
I think Chovy's gonna have a rough time chasing these guys down without any boots. I don't think you're catching Diana, mate. See what happens. I don't think she's recalling in that bush. I would expect to see him sell the broken stopwatch and buy Sock Shoes again. I think that is the right play. I feel like he might have realized that it is hard to play Orianna with no movement speed, but maybe not. Very interesting decisions here. So I expect to see a final push for the base here. Chovy's team has Baron buff. They should be able to win team fights. See what happens here. The Yasuo Windwall does cancel his shield onto Graves. One man ults Alistar. I think taking the free kill on Alistar is fair enough. Look at Chovy's mana bar, guys. This is what I mean when Orianna is an extremely mana hungry champion. This is why I go Presence of Mind on this champion. He has a completed Seraphs, and he did one fight and he's already sitting at 20%, 25% mana here.
아, 우리 신발선 잡았겠네.
Nice hook by Nautilus. I think we're going to see Orianna outranging Jhin here. Look at that, beautiful. So many AD carries can't deal with this Orianna range and this pressure that she puts on. That was it. That was a wrap. So that was Chovy's Orianna. I think there were a lot of good points to take from this game, and also we can kind of see Chovy playing on his limits a lot. So I'll say learn from what looks good, and if something looks a bit sketchy, don't just blindly follow it. Try and think like, what is the reason behind it? Because in my opinion, a lot of Chovy's plays this game were actually a bit of a limit test, and he's kind of experimenting, seeing what he can get away with. So don't blindly follow every play that these pro players make.